Welcome to the India FinTech Diaries, the only podcast focused exclusively on the Indian fintech market. I'm Elroy.
And I'm Hemant. In each episode, we dive into the latest trends, ideas, innovations, business models, and personalities that are shaping India's fintech landscape.
We also invite amazing guests who are innovators and industry players that are driving the change that is helping make financial services more modern, innovative, and inclusive in India. Come join us as we explore the changing landscape of fintech in India. Welcome back to India FinTech Diaries, your one stop destination for stories from the cutting edge of India's thriving fintech ecosystem. I'm Elroy, and today we have an exciting episode lined up as we explore the notoriously complex world of cross border payments. And with me is my co host Hemant.
And to help us navigate this complex world, we have with us Sanjay Tripathy, co-founder and CEO of BRISKPE. Sanjay, a very warm welcome to the India FinTech Diaries.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. And I heard a lot about India FinTech Diaries. I'll be happy to really joining the show today.
And likewise, Sanjay, we have heard a lot about BRISKPE, so pleasure to have you on the call today. So Sanjay, diving right in, could you share the origin story of BRISKPE? What was the specific spark or unmet need that you and your co-founders identified in the often complex realm of international payments for MSMEs that led to its creation?
Now, this is very interesting. So I was a very senior leadership position in HDFC Life. Then I quit and went
Right.
to a advanced management program in Stanford. Post coming back, I used to help a lot of startups. So during that journey, during COVID period, I had a time and someone said, can you just help us to set up a neobank? So I was extensively going deeper into what other neobanks are doing. What is the kind of thing which is really missing? So while doing that study, what I realized that most of the thing what neobank provides, either someone or others today providing, and most of the segments are already covered. Like SME neobank is like open,
Right.
there is doing something. See overall everything has been covered, but something when I went deeper, like a cross-border payment. See, when my background is for marketing and research and understanding customers. So when I was doing extensive research and trying to figure out what is the kind of space which you can get into, then I realized that the cross-border payments, be it an individual or trade, that is something really complex. Then I realized my own, because I was almost doing a consulting period that point of time. My money was coming from abroad. Sometimes I don't know how much is coming, so how much is getting cut, and when I'm going to get the money. Then I realized, yes, this is the problem, but probably not many people are addressing that at the moment. So I went deeper. I went and met some of the banks, trying to understand what is happening. Then I realized we are actually looking at different segment, but we realized that this trade cross border, like B2B cross border payments, is something is really complex, and not many people have really dived in deeper. So once I got the segment, I did a very classic way of finding my partners. So I did a LinkedIn headhunting to find Nilis, co-founder in tech, because I said, in Stanford they used to say, what are you doing to change the world? So what I
Right.
realized, if I want to do this, I want to change the life of Indian exporters or Indian people who want to do a cross-border trade forever, and I want to give the best product. So if I want to give the best product, it can't happen that you create a company with friends and family, like many of the startup. I said I want to get the best to partner me in the journey. So I went in LinkedIn, searched for who are the guys who have got experience. Luckily, I got Niles, who was like found almost like a founding city of Neom, which is a cross-border unicorn, and he was there from the pre-series level to almost they become the unicorn. And so I reached up to him. I said, why don't you let's come and let's start the journey. So we spent, it's almost like dating 2 3 months trying to understand each other. Do you have common interest? What is our common goal? Why we are in this? Are we there to earn money or really solve a big problem? Then once we are convinced, we thought, we'll set up a company. By the time I was one of my alumni event. I met Indunath, who's pretty junior to me, but he was in a bank like ICICI Bank and Citibank. He was trying to solve another part of the cross-border problem, which is factoring or getting the loan when you are actually moving the goods.
Right.
So then I said, something. Why don't you come and teach us? So when we again start working together, then you realize that together we can have a formidable team. Let's start this going to this journey together. And I'm no like that was such a brilliant way to get my co-founders. And today I can tell you one thing: every time we meet a VC or anywhere we go, everybody says you're the best co-founding team which is there in the market, most experienced, most knowledgeable, and that is where we have started.
Sanjay, as you explained, you've had a very impressive career and you've worn numerous hats in your career, like a CMO, founder, angel investor, and advisor. How did these diverse experiences shape your perspective and approach when you decided to tackle the challenges of cross border payments?
So as I said, I always was interested in consumers. So what was in
Right,
early stage of my career, I spent most of the largest consumer companies in the world. I started my career in Amul, then I worked with Pepsi, then I worked with Mattel, which is a toy business. Then I went to Reliance when they were starting the mobile, at the early days of mobile business, almost 25 years back. And then
right,
I went to insurance when again, when there's LIC was the largest player and the private insurance companies are coming in. But last three businesses, I tried to build something called a digital business. So in Reliance, I was trying to build online calling card. In that point of time, anyone was would have been US must have been used something called Reliance India Calls, which I really launched that time. Then in insurance, post 2008, I built something called digital insurance, like Click to Protect. I don't know whether you have bought that product or not, but so if you look at traditionally, most of the people who has got into digital insurance came through that product. So what I realized that large businesses which are primarily offline can be converted to online. That made me think like how can why can't I go and support the journey to numerous founders, and so actually I started as coming back from the corporate, starting become an angel investor and helping startups to move that like advisor or like helping them to get into Series A. So while doing that, then I realized what is the secret sauce of making a startup successful. Like out of my 20 investment, in 4 5 investment, I make some 10 to 20x return, which is unthinkable that point of time. So a
right.
lot of people came and said that wherever you are investing, we'll invest. Then I try to recall saying that what all I'm doing different than most of the other investors, so that I'm getting successful in angel investing. Obviously, I was doing more like a hobby kind of thing. Then I said, when I got this idea, then I said, how can I build a team and create a product so that it can be a successful product? And what is the large need we are trying to? So the three things I understand, it has to be a large unmet need. Second is it should be really complex now, and your product should really make it simple through tech. Third is how can you form a formidable team, not just of your co-founder, because that's a early journey, but going forward, your company is run by your team, right? So how can you
Right.
find an early team which you can take it to the next level? So luckily, that learning really helped me to build this company.
Sanjay, moving focus to the problem space for a bit, right? So, for many Indian MSMEs, receiving payments from abroad has been a very significant hurdle. And you've also faced this when in your own experience as well, right? So, what do you think are some of the key pain points that today MSMEs still consistently face while receiving payments from overseas?
So MSMEs, if you look at, there are two segments: goods and services.
Yeah,
Services is slightly simpler because services business, what happens, like I think you are a consultant, you'll understand. We actually provide a service and try to raise our invoice. So most
correct.
of the services business still do in an old way, saying that okay, my rate is this much, but it's a international. Let me raise the rate by 10% or 20%. It will cover the delays or the payment loss when you are converting the currency. Goods business is slightly more complex because first of all, you are competing against all the players in the world, and today with China is a formidable competitor. So what happens in a goods business, that any loss of percentage while coming, it is significantly affect your cash flow and also your profitability. So
Correct.
what we realize that challenges, we did almost 500 interviews of goods and services. So what we did slightly differently than most of the other cross-border payments companies which came during same time, most of our newest competition. Everybody started with the easier option of solving for the services, like for the freelancer, the service exports, but we went deeper into goods. So the problems are same, that is expensive. FX charges are anything between 1 to 4%. Like some companies, like global company like PayPal, charges up to 4%. Banks charge depending on the, if it's a MSME, anyone anywhere between 1 to 2%, then other people are somewhere in between. And there is also like someone is sending through bank, then he has to do a SWIFT charges of 25 to 40, $50. Then there is always a delay, because once the payment comes, you don't know what is happening in between, right? For the four
Right.
5 days. So because it's come through a corresponding bank network, by that, if it is not cited by your bank, your bank will not able to tell what happened to the payment when it is come. Then it comes, then you ask for a purpose code, then you send a mail, then they send a physical FIRA, then you have to pay 500 rupees to get a e-FIRA document. So for regularization of that payment is a very, very tedious process. So it is pretty opaque. It is very hard to reconcile because you're getting series of payment. It is like, you have to basically take, so you have to need an accountant. But the small business is an additional hassle in terms of both time, and it's also in terms of cost. And if it's all invoices are not matching, then obviously there is a problem, because government has given 9 months to regularize all your export proceeds. Then also you have to do a EBRC, which is the next level, which is you have to go into DGFT portal. You have to do ADPMS bill regulation, and then update in the DGFT portal. So all this thing, when we actually looked at, we realized the problem in the goods segment is a lot higher, and they're
Mhm.
really struggling. And that segment, interestingly, there is only bank is there. In services, like as I said, there are multiple players, mostly B2C kind of payments. PayPal is there.
Correct.
There are some international players which are there in the mid level. They're trying to solve for the services, and the newest players are also come in the services. So initially we thought, if we try to solve the complex piece of it for the goods guys, then eventually you'll actually solve for the all segment. So we started our hypothesis saying that let's solve it for goods, which is the most complex, and 100% business is with the bank at the moment. So once we did that, I think that is where we built the hypothesis. And then the second hypothesis we built, because Nilesh came from having a lot of experience in cross-border and having built global unicorn kind of thing. So that we said everything should be digital. So the first, so and it should be mobile. So we are the only company in the world probably started a mobile first approach. So we said if everybody today can pay through Google Pay or a Phone Pay
Right.
wallet, why can't we actually provide the similar kind of experience in the cross-border payment? So we started a mobile-first platform launch, where everything you can see through mobile, and you can basically upload your invoice and take a photo and upload the invoice. And obviously, we are doing the almost similar thing what most of the newest fintech companies are doing, cross-border fintechs are doing, like providing virtual accounts. So basically, we give a local account, so your party can pay locally. The moment you get paid locally in your mobile phone, you can see that money has come. Let's say $1,000 has come to your account, and then your next day it comes to your Indian bank account. So within 24 hours today, we settle around 80% of the payment. So that is another thing which we did. Third thing what we did, we wanted to give a very good onboarding experience. Again, that was the industry first that time when we launched 2 years, almost 2 years, 1.5 years back, by providing digital KYC. So we promise a 5-minute digital KYC where we check your all your document which you upload on the onboarding process with the government databases, be it for the MCA, be it for the GST. So both KYC and KYB we complete on entire digital by 5 minutes. So then we give virtual accounts of 6 foreign currencies. So it is like creating 6 foreign accounts within 5 minutes time. It's a wow experience, because if you know today, if you go to open a bank account today
Correct.
as a B2B company, it will take anything between 2 to 3 weeks time, whichever bank you go. So this is the way we thought initially how we will come to the business. Very transparent pricing, so that we don't charge for forex. We actually provide what we call as a Google rate, because people understand what you see is basically what you pay, and our fee is 1% or less. We started with, and now we have reduced it to 0.75%. So we are basically trying to give back to the system in a sense, like how it can be very cost effective, and how they can get a payment within one day, and how it can be completely transparent in the entire.
Sanjay, BRISKPE offers compelling features such as multi-currency virtual accounts, same-day settlements, and transparent flat pricing, to name a few. Which of these have you found are the most impactful for you user? And if you can distinguish by your type of users, as you said, there are goods exporters, there are service exporters, there are freelancers, etc.
See, basically, the trust is built, when you have got something called every time you come, you have the similar experience, right? So I think that I think the mobile feature, mobile first, when we started as a mobile first, I think that helped them to create the, because none of the other companies are like web based. So basically, even if you get the payment, you have to actually upload, you have to go to the office and see on your website whether payment has come or not.
Right.
And when you get a mobile notification that your payment has come, and you just click and see the money, so that gives a wow kind of feeling. I think that really helps. Obviously, virtual account, seamless money movement in cross-border money movement is a definitely plus. I think virtual account is something everybody likes, and when we
Mm.
started, we are the first company to give virtual account in 6 currencies: USD, Euro, GBP, Canadian dollars, Singapore dollar, and Australian dollars. That we started almost a year and a half back. So that is also a wow, because in the 6 currencies, which are probably mostly major currency, 80 to 85% of the most exporter money come from these currencies. So you are getting a virtual account. And what we provide is a multi-currency wallet kind of thing. Basically, in the wallet, you can actually get different currencies. Then money comes to your bank account. So entire thing, what happens in the money movement, you can see in your app, and you can actually operate your business through the app. That was a wow combination of this. So
Mm.
individually, everything really matters. But combination of this really give that wow experience. Then we realize that some of the small payments cannot come. See, when you do account to account transfer, it is similar to NEFT RTGS kind of transfer, but still there are small payments. You can some people, some clients will say that we want to pay by cards or pay by wallet. So we also integrated cards through PayU and wallets through PayPal. So what we provide is a one-stop shop kind of experience, in the sense whether it's account to account, you can do through our rails. If you want to accept card payment, you can accept card payment through PayU. And if you want to do a wallet, it is like you can get the PayPal. It's similar like retailer experience. If you go today, you want milk, and if he doesn't have a milk, he'll give you a milk from the side shop, even if he's not earning any profit. Because idea
Right.
is that the customer should not go to the side shop. So that is exactly we provided. We don't earn any money in card and the wallet, but we provide that experience, customer one stop experience.
And such a huge congratulations on receiving the in principle payment aggregator cross border license from RBI. For our listeners, could you shed some light on the significance of this license and how it will particularly influence BRISKPE's operations and future development roadmap?
So when we started in 2023 February, so that is something called the OPGSP guidelines.
Hmm.
So
Correct.
guidelines is like you have to work with a bank. So basically, we wrote to 81 bank that point of time. It's a yes bank saying that we want to become a OPGSP provider. So basically, it is the duty of the bank to regulate you. Okay. But by October 23, RBI came up with the guidelines similar to the payment aggregator guidelines for the domestic, saying that payment aggregator cross border is a new segment. And if a domestic guy wants to do that, they need to apply. And all the OPGSP guys are considered as a deemed operator, but they have to apply for the license. So we all
Okay.
applied, whichever three, four companies we are operating in this space. But interestingly, we are the only newest company which has got for both export and import. It's a huge achievement because to give you an till today, only three or four companies has got it. Half of them has got only for export, and half of them got for some of them got for only for import. But no newest fintech company has got for export and import. And some of the large payment aggregators which are there in the business for a very long period of time, they have still not got the license. So what RBI really looks at is that what is your business plan?
Hmm.
How strong is your compliance system? How strong is the customer grievance addressal kind of thing? So basically they look at all aspect of your business, your customer customer management, your partners. Third is your compliance. Fourth is cybersecurity. So they look at the entire gamut of a business, then give the license. We are a pretty small company and very young company. Probably we're the youngest among the lot who have applied for the license, and we're the fastest to get that license. So I think that's a huge achievement, and RBI is one of the very strongest, one of the strong regulator across the world. So once it is like RBI approved, then you know that you can basically go through any of the other regulatory requirement anywhere in the world. So we're pretty happy, and congratulations. Why it is I will really say that it's happened because of my team, because only the team can really do this, and without that it would have not been possible for us.
Absolutely. And I think, Sanjay, this is where the company might be young, but the leadership is pretty experienced, and that would have played a significant role in drafting the license application and RBI getting convinced that you have the capability to put in the right regulatory checks and balances to deserve a license like this to be provided.
Also, we invested in very senior leadership from the beginning.
That's what I said.
What
Correct.
Right.
most of this fintech company when they start, so they actually look at junior guys, and over the period of time, as you get funding, you take senior leaders. So, but we took a call from the beginning that we'll not compromise, because here we are dealing with very serious issues like anti-money
Correct.
laundering,
Correct.
terrorist financing,
Correct.
and all those things we need to really crack very early in the thing. My compliance head is 25 years. I have 25 years experience, worked in
Hmm.
various international companies and international banks, both domestic and international banks. My tech chief architect has come from, again, he has come from NIAM. He has got NIAM and JP Morgan experience kind of thing.
Right.
So we have taken serious, wherever it is important, we took very senior leadership. Like our first down is as strong as our leader, all of us, and probably better than us in many aspects. So I think that really tilted the favor toward, tilted this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's ideal. In my experience, one place where lot of younger folks operating in a highly regulated space struggle is managing the regulatory challenges. And that's a good segue because you're not only managing the regulatory challenges within the country, but because you're operating in different international jurisdictions, it would put slightly more pressure on you to comply with all those jurisdictions. So, can you help us understand how, in addition to the team that you have, BRISKPE strategically navigated this intricate compliance landscape across multiple jurisdictions?
So, well, obviously, you need to have a lot of tools to help you out because see, we are doing everything digitally. As I said, I'm doing onboarding digitally. So, I'm
Right.
actually tracking a lot of databases. Like, I'm really getting his data checked against a lot of databases in real time. Then, obviously, there is a compliance team. If there is anything, it goes for enhanced due diligence, which is done by my compliance team. See, there are three type of monitoring when you are onboarding to see whether whatever you are providing is correct or not. Second part is when you are doing the transaction, you need to check the transaction at multiple level, what purpose it has really come, whether the invoices are genuine or not. Like typically in services business, it's very difficult to understand the genuinity of business because anyone can claim that they have given a consultancy and getting $10,000, but is that consultancy really worth that much? Is that guy actually given similar consultancy before? Is the guy known in a consultant field? So a lot of this qualitative and quantitative aspect you need to check. Someone says I've done a website design, but you need to see that party, is that parties something who can pay, let's say, $50,000 for a website design, which is not really the rate in the market. So there are many aspects you need to check when you're doing a transaction monitoring, both from velocity side, both from the KYC side, the purpose code side. So what we try to do initially also when we work with a lot of these rails which are working internationally, try to block certain segment which we believe are more fraud prone. Let's say like a diamond, we don't do it like pharma,
Yeah.
chemicals. We don't really do it because there are enough business today, right? Rather than going for me to the riskier side to get the business. And also as a company, as a founder, we took a call that compliance first kind of company. We said, see, fintechs are always hungry for business. So what happens? Many of these people come and try because your system is not so strong. They come and try to get through your systems on the early days. We said it should be different. It is not, we'll refuse more business than we should accept. That should be the initial benchmark. So it is no hurry for anyone to accept the business unless we are 100% satisfied. And with the right team and right technology in place, again, we are trying to use AI also, fraud detection and all. Probably we are one of the fastest to do that. Also, what we did, we put also ourselves to regulation before the regulation came in. For example, we registered under FIU, which is Financial Intelligence Unit, in August 23. Even before the guideline come in that for application you need to get yourself FI registered. So what happened from the beginning stage, we provide all the checks and balances so that we will do a much more thorough check. Still things can go through, but that is why we always look at how we can enhance that. My compliance head and other teams actually look at what are the new experiences every month, what we are learning, and how can we add it in our own processes kind of thing. So build a very strong compliance led ecosystem in our company.
Sanjay, you touched upon the fact that you have multiple partnerships with the likes of Yes Bank, HDFC Bank, Currency Cloud, PayU, PayPal, etc. Right? How vital are these collaborations in your overall strategy and ability to scale? And more importantly, how do you actually strike the balance between developing your own technology and integrating with established global players?
Well, some of the things, for example, if you're doing money movement, you need and providing local accounts, you need licenses across the world. As a new
Correct.
company, for example, you can't apply for so many licenses because every place like RBI makes mandatory that you have to put 15 crore in your account. Every country has their own rules. So some places is $1 million, some places are 500K, like some places 2 million. So what happens? Every place you need to block your capital. You don't have so much capital to block.
Correct.
Second, you have to open a subsidiary where you have to set up a team kind of thing. So that is additional cost. So it is not possible for you to take multiple licenses across the world. So you need to look at the player which has got those licenses and they have got the local bank tie-up so that they can give those virtual accounts to you, which you can offer to your
Yeah.
customer. What we call as named virtual account. Let's say Elroy is operating to me. I will give a Elroy account, not a BRISKPE account, because nobody will trust a
Correct.
BRISKPE account. So that capability called a virtual account issuance capability. So like that, they're called infra players. Like Currency Cloud was one of the infra players. There are multiple such infra players across the world. So we tie up with them because without that, we cannot scale this business or we can't even establish this business. We can take our own licenses, but it will be there in the next 3 to 5 years journey, but not today. So that's why that kind of players are required. Second are banks. You have obviously, as per RBI, we don't touch the money. We need an AD1 bank. So
Right.
we started with the Yes Bank as a AD1 bank. Then we looked at HDFC Bank has got more capability. So AD1 bank is necessary because eventually the money comes to AD1 bank. Their capabilities of receiving the money, distributing the money, take capability. Everything is important to really give you that flex, saying that okay, look, I'm better than others. So that's how the banking relations are important. Third, as other APMs or the a payment service provider like a domestic PA and all. So those are important to really, as I said, I given that example before, like, guy coming to me for account to account. I don't want him to go to some other place to receive the card
Right.
payment or
Right.
somewhere else. See, he can also have a PayPal account, but he can integrate that PayPal account and get from the one platform. So he doesn't have to move out from one app to open another app or third app or going to the website to really do that transaction. So we wanted everything to happen in one go kind of thing. That is where that is important. And over the time progresses, we'll develop that, we'll build that. But today it is not today. Obviously, as a small company, we have our priorities. Our priorities, like, first want to be very compliant company, and we spend a lot of tech development resources both in compliance and user experience, because that we believe is the key. And as time progresses, we'll get our license and get our own rails, and probably that point of time probably will not take on the rails. And we are in the process of working on a checkout solution.
Sanjay, you have also been gaining significant traction, especially among textile exporters, software service agents, etc. Right? What do you think are some of the key factors driving this adoption? And just looking beyond the payment transaction, can you also take us to some of the customer testimonials you have in about the customer experience that BRISPE provides, especially when it bundles compliance and workflow tools like EFIRA generation and invoice tracking together in one platform?
Yeah. So what we did in this, as I said, we initially focused on the goods segment because we believe that is a major
Right.
segment. And today, if you look at, almost 50%, 45 to 50% of the goods export is coming through MSME segment. It's a large segment. Okay. Only bank is there. So we continuously work with them. How can we give them a better solution? So that is how our team came with a EBRC solution in a bank relation certificate kind of thing. So what happened? Most of the other fintech, it overs when you give a EFIRA. So EPRA is a payment advice, but these guys also need to take like an airway bill or shipping bill, and then they have to regularize that payment. So what the government wants that one is you have sent the goods, this got the payment, please regularize, so it will be considered as an export payment, or else that tax authorities can come later and ask you for GSTs and other. So what we did, we actually created a EBRC solution through HDFC Bank now, so that any goods exporter can actually do end-to-end payment, and post payment compliance also can also be offered from us. So that is again industry first, and nobody else actually provides that at the moment. That was a significant difference. So we have got entry into textiles, sports good, and couple of other segments because they really loved the solution because it saved a lot of time. So what happens, government want you to regularize within 9 months. So generally people are lazy, they'll be sitting idle, then on 7th month or 8th month they will take all the bunch of document and go to the an accountant will create that, go to the bank. The bank guy might be also busy, so he'll probably not do on time, and eventually this will not be considered as export, or they might miss some of the export credits and all what they have really asked for. So our solution help them saying build up, like, once you get a EFIRA, please, this is my platform, please upload your other shipping bills and other, you forget it, we'll actually regularize it from proper your EFIRA with the 81 bank. So that is a wow solution for the goods exporter. I think that helped us from the goods segment. But the services segment, we wanted to give a very like a no-touch kind of solution. Like you just upload the invoice. It's very simple. Again, it's an app-based kind of solution, so that you just upload your invoice or create the invoice and upload, and you get a payment. It goes to your bank segment. You get a notification on the thing. It's basically user experience kind of thing. We focus more on the services segment. So from the beginning, because we are looking at a goods, my average ticket size become much higher because I can look at a mid segment for both goods and services, because my solutioning helps them to regularize the business, and compliance support is much better. So what we are trying to do going forward is that our goal is not to just look at payments. What we want to do is, like, how can help them to really get more from the global trade. So what we want to do, we want to give a combined experience, so that if you have got any problem in the taxation, logistics, business setup, marketing and advertising, and all those things will provide as a additional services going forward, so that it's just not the payment. If anyone wants to grow their business, we'll be there for them.
Sanjay, if you look at the cross-border payments space, right, it is becoming increasingly complex, dynamic, and several players actually trying to enter the space. Even if you look at PACB, there are at least 10 plus entities that are waiting for licenses. And in this competitive environment, what do you think is BRISPE's distinct value proposition that is helping you carve out a niche? And my second question related to this would be, do you also foresee that this space will also undergo concentration and consolidation like that happened in the payment aggregator space?
So I think still there are enough of more than 40 odd payment aggregators are operating. Obviously, fewer bigger ones, but everybody has found the niche. For example, EaseBuzz is operating in a completely different niche compared to Razorpay, Cash Free, and
Right.
PayU. I believe this market is pretty large. If you look at both export and import, and only MSMEs, if I look at, here it is 45% and there almost 20%. So 820 billion dollar is a total export, and that is 45% is almost 400 billion dollar here, and 15 to 20% in the import space, which is 920 or almost 915. So 15-20% will be again 100 billion kind of thing. So you look at, there is almost $500 billion to be worked out. So no single player today can do it, and most of this today actually more than 95% is done by the bank. So,
Right.
and there are 100 odd banks are there. So we believe there are enough space for everyone, at least 5 to 10 players, different segment. There'll be different niches. So what we are doing distinctively different in the sense, if you must have heard as Amazon selling kind of thing, a lot of Amazon sellers are
Right.
actually, uh, Amazon has like, doing a e-commerce export of $2 to $3 billion from India. To give you a perspective, India digital export, e-commerce export, marketplace export is only $2 to $3 billion compared to China is $350 billion. So there's a huge headwind in there. Since next 5 years, I see no reason India cannot get $100 billion e-commerce export. Looking at the geopolitical situation today, so that opens up all the marketplace opportunity. We are again one of the very few Indian payment service provider to be listed in Amazon. So as the people, Amazon sellers business increases, we provide them, and not just payment. Again, there also we are trying to help them, how to help them in logistics support, foreign business setup support, marketing support, tech compliance support, tax and compliance support, account management support. So how can we help them to grow the business? So that is again one of our differentiator. Third thing, what we are trying to do, again, if you've seen, it is not that Amazon only people are selling abroad. There are a lot of B2B cross-border platforms are also started up in a particular segment, verticals kind of thing. Let's take Ninja Cut, for example. They are
Yeah.
basically agro exports can happen through Ninja Cut. So what we are trying, because we are a very strong tech team, and we understand technology better than many of the other people. We have also created another segment which will actually give a white label and API kind of support to the different platforms. So it's like almost like a platform play business where we are selling PSCV as a service. So if you have got an exporter, so it is like, they will collect a payment. It look like that, Ninja Cut sells these guys to get the payment, but in the back end, it actually happens through our network only. So how it will be seamlessly, it can be integrated. So combination of all three, like, going directly to the customer, both in goods and services. Second is placing ourselves in the marketplaces. Third is like, providing as an infra player or providing a platform play to all the other big commerce platform. These are the three of our differentiator. Fourth important one is that we have got a import license. That means people who are sending money abroad, they can also do that, and that's a huge advantage. So just imagine an exporter, like apparel exporter. He is actually selling the final material, but he might be getting his clothes from China, or zippers from China, or probably buttons from Vietnam. So today, with one single platform, not only he'll realize all his export payment, he can also send his payments to all his suppliers, kind of thing. So that's a huge advantage, because again, it's an integrated platform where you can do both the things. And we believe that's a strong competitive advantage at this stage. Yes, a lot of other people will come up. But as we go deeper and understand the customer pain point and solve for the customer pain point, we think we have a distinct advantage.
And Sanjay, you touched upon this, but I just want to recognize this. So BRISKPE is officially recognized as a payment service provider by Amazon. Talk to us a little about this, and connected to that, the offering that you have brought into the market.
Amazon marketplace actually started mostly for the Chinese sellers. So Indian sellers started going to them in 2019, 2020. So what Amazon has done only global players, they recognize global players. So last year they started saying that, okay, Indian players also, I mean, Indian payment service providers will also recognize. They go
Hmm.
through thorough scrutiny to really add you as a payment service provider. I think we are the only first 2, 3 payment service provider to be there. But advantage of being an Amazon marketplace is that, today more than 100,000 people use sellers use Amazon marketplace. So that means for them there is an Indian opportunity of like only 2, 3 players. Though there are two foreign players, their product is not built for Indian compliance. For example,
Hmm.
it's a global product, but that is like, they don't give a tax efficient invoice. That, so all the other support which is required for an Indian guys to regularize that trade is not possible
Right.
for foreign players. So that is where the Indian players come in, which who build the system for them. I think that's a very good plus point. So as the Amazon grows the business, we think, we will definitely, there will be significant market share shift from the foreign players who are not regulated in India to Indian regulated players who understand the Indian ecosystem. Third, as I said, we understand Indian customer need better. That's why we are
Hmm.
not coming with a only payment platform. If you look at one of our press release recently, what we said during Amazon global selling product launch is that we are calling something called a BRISKPE launchpad, which will keep all these things together: account management supports, EBRC, faster payment, quick onboarding, multi-currency account, logistics, tax compliance. Everything will come in the one single platform. So it is like, it like a bouquet is available, whatever you want. Some of them will be free, integrated like a freemium model. Something if you want to get deeper, probably you need to pay for that. So what happens in a one single place, you can do everything around your cross-border payments. I think it's a huge advantage because imagine Amazon itself has a big plan in terms of increasing their business from India.
Got it. Got it. And looking towards the horizon, how do you foresee the landscape of cross-border MSME payments evolving in India over the next 3 to 5 years? And given your views, what exciting developments are next for BRISKPay? Whether it could be new products, international corridors, new user segments. What are you gearing up to target basis your future view?
So interesting, like what we believe that I think the cross-border trade is going through a major change. I don't think the world will be same again in 2025. What was pre-Trump
Right.
tariff era, and this.
Yeah, I think that has become a word, right? Pre-Trump, post-Trump.
So, I believe there will be significant shift from China to other countries. So India
Yeah.
is very strongly poised today because government understand they're doing a lot of work in terms of making the job easier for the exporters kind of thing. And most of the companies realize that India is a good destination to have your production set up here. So I believe in 3 to 4 years. But what happens, when we look at, let's say, Apple's setting up, like if you look at last 5 years, like a lot of large companies come up and set up their production setup here. So when the
Right.
production setup sets up, there will be auxiliaries product distribution also goes up, right? So we believe that India is looking at a $2 trillion export in 2030, which is 3x from where they are now. Obviously, because of there are so many geopolitical things, we are growing at 6-7%, but that growth will probably become 25, around 15 to 25% going forward. Services we are going fairly strongly, but goods actually there is a lot of headwinds. I believe it will grow much faster. And today there are even though there are a lot of MSMEs in India, very few do exports today. But I believe that segment will grow, and that and out of that segment, which is doing an export to digital export segment will grow. So all these three things will definitely be a positive sign for BizPay. The fourth thing, what is happening, the new segments are getting opened up. If you look at, there was no in nothing in the past which was saying that there is a lawyer is selling their services. COVID time, the yoga operator, yoga instructor, and so many new people started selling their product and services, be it a course, be it doing training. Everything has happened through India. The GCC is a very good example. The companies are set almost sending their, they are not really hiring there. Here GCC, even the legal is actually they're outsourced to here. So I
Right.
believe a lot of the services, a lot of new segments will open up. Similarly, in goods also, a lot of new areas which will start exporting there. Similarly, like when you are actually exporting, the import will also go side by side. Today we have
Hmm.
almost a 100 billion deficit in import and export. Import is higher than export
Right.
today. But I
Right.
believe that import will also go up because when you are doing export, you have to still import something from outside to make that thing. But, so there'll be a lot of cross-border money movement going on. So when there is a 2 trillion export we are talking about, there'll be 2 trillion import almost. So it's, when you are looking at in a 5 year roadmap, there'll be $4 trillion doing money movement. And I believe MSME contribution from 45% probably it will become to 60% because the only way the export will go up when more people will participate in export. And when more people participate, probably it will come from the smaller segment rather than the larger segment. So that is where we are very excited how to give a digital first kind of experience to all the new guys. So like all of our kids, which they actually started the tabs or the phones as a first digital device. We want to
Hmm.
make that experience so that they don't go through that same bank process. And you today we are struggling to convert someone from a bank experience to a digital experience. But we believe the new age guys will come start with a digital experience. There, fintech players like us will really gain a lot. In our future roadmap, we want to become something like a cross-border bank because what we realized, it is not just a payment. The
Hmm.
core thing a cross-border seller is looking at how to grow their cross-border business. If we help him, like what we are dealing with payment is making it faster, cheaper, saving his money, helping him with like money rotation kind of thing. But can we help him to grow the business? Can our intelligence in our platform, our analytics in my platform help him to understand the demand, accept that business model, and reduce its cost in terms of logistics, returns, and other places, and eventually we'll actually can bring a build business by doing that. So that is our core goal for India. We have also international aspiration. We believe that we should be like, see, all these payment player which operate in India, be it PayPal and others, they started from country, eventually they operate in multiple countries today across the globe. And problem is very similar in Southeast Asia, like what we see in India. So we want to at least in next 2 to 3 years launch in multiple Southeast Asian countries, and also on our own rails, like taking license in multiple geographies, so that the money movement which is happening through multiple other company rails like currency cloud and all, it should happen through
Mm.
our own rails and our own bank tie-ups, so that it will be faster, compliance wise it will be much better, and customer experience will be better. So idea is that how can we help India to grow the trade, and at the same time provide a seamless wow experience to all the exporters and importers.
Got it. Got it. I must say, Sanjay, it has been a wow experience for us having you on the podcast. Your insights on the on BriskPay and also the insights on cross-border payment space has been very valuable to us, and I hope our listeners find it valuable as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of India FinTech Diaries. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on the latest on the Indian fintech landscape. Visit our website indiafintechdiaries.com for show notes and other exclusive content. Until next time, stay safe.